Happy Friday! Woohoo! And welcome to Bold Badass Business, where we bring you the badassery in the form of experts who will give you no BS, proven strategies and methods that will help you grow yourself and your business. And you all, today I am thrilled to have Michelle Myrter, who is a sales code cracker catalyst. Woo! I love that. SCCC. She will help you understand the bank system, which is phenomenal. You all, I got to hear Michelle speak, and as soon as I heard her speak, I said, OMG, this is essential information for people in business, because here's the truth of it. Right now, you all, like we said in our title, you're turning off 75% of the people you're working with. OMG, or people you want to work with. And it's time to turn that around in your favor. And that is what Michelle is going to help you do today. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you, Dr. Barnsley. I am so excited to be here and share this with your audience.
I'm thrilled you're here. And I know that not only are you kick-ass and being a sales code cracker, not to be confused with a white cracker. I just had to say that. You know, I'm Bold Badass Business. It just comes out. Not to be confused with a white cracker. But someone who also knows how to freaking fill events. So let me just say, you all, that Michelle just had an event in Pennsylvania, and she had over 100% attendance at her event. Like, people were there early, and they even had to start early. This is unheard of. So one of the things you have to look forward to in today's interview is you look forward to hearing some of her secrets for how she created 100% plus attendance at that event. Woohoo!
I love it. I love it.
Who can turn that down?
I know, right? So much in store for them.
So much in store. Y'all are so lucky. And, you know, keep in mind, like, what are the statistics right now when you do events after COVID, a live event? Do you really think over 100% of people are going to come? Hell no. No. Oh, no. So she's got secrets, and we're going to have you spill the beans, Michelle, the proverbial business beans this time. So let me ask you, first of all, to just share with everybody, what is the bank system, who created it, and what drew you to it?
So bank is reverse engineered personality science. It's the only methodology in the world that is scientifically validated to predict buying behavior and buy-in behavior. Why do people buy into you? In less than 90 seconds. The woman who created it, her name is Sherry Tree, and she actually did not create this for us to all use it. She actually created it for herself because she was literally struggling with sales, and she needed to find out if the system was broken or she was broken. She found out, indeed, the system was broken.
That's powerful. You know, because when we go through a long sales slump, right, or just a dry period, and we're having, you know, we've all had them when we're having sales enrollment conversations, one after another, and we keep getting shot down. And people keep saying no, and we know that's a not yet, but it still feels like rejection. Then there comes a point where, as business owners, we're like, oh, I don't want to put myself out there again.
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem. Part of the problem is that we've been wired to believe that sales is a numbers game. When in fact, it's not a numbers game, but mathematically, that's the way it's laid out. Because if you don't understand someone's bank code, which is their core values, their buying behavior, then you're playing that numbers game, because there's 24 different combinations that somebody can show up. Which means,
wait, back up. Say that again. Say that again. That's some genius right there.
So there's 24 different ways that someone can show up, which means every time someone goes out there and has a sales conversation, they have a 1 in 24 shot a 4% chance of getting a yes, unless they know the secret.
And when they know the secret, what percentage do they go up to? Like they have 1 in 24% chance if they don't know bank and know how to profile the person. But if they do, how much could their sales enrollment conversations, how much could their conversions increase?
So that's the key. It was built to increase sales up to 300%.
Whoa.
Yes.
Did you say 300%?
I said 300%. A client of mine was in business for 13 years. And once she implemented bank into her business, in 30 days, she had a 400% increase in sales.
Whoa.
400%. She brought in 12 new team members.
Whoa.
And she made 3 rank advancements.
Whoa. So she was in MLM.
Yes.
Oh, my Lordy lands a living. Okay, so you all need to listen here. OMG, because I'll tell you what. All right, I've just been reading Jordan Adler, who is the top distributor for Send Out Cards. I've been reading his book, Beach Money, which he sent to me. That book is pure genius. I have to send him a voice text later because I'm reading it. I'm like, damn, I needed this when I did Legal Shield, when I started Legal Shield. He says that for you to be successful in MLMs, you need to recruit 20 to 30 people, 20 to 30. And what I'm hearing from you is that knowing the bank system, training in this, knowing this, being able to codify people and crack their code is going to increase not just your sales, but your recruitment, which means that you have not cloned you, but you have a whole sales force working on your behalf.
Correct. So we focus on the 4 R's: rank, revenue, recruiting, and what was it?
Righteousness. What was it? Rank. Wait, I've got to write this down. Rank, revenue.
Rank, revenue, recruiting, and retention.
Oh, I love it. Oh, hot dang. Yeah. Whoa. So let's stop for a second. And how about you go through those real quick and how they relate to bank?
So how about I share a little bit of what bank is first?
Oh yeah, we didn't do that.
So that people can follow along, right? So
yeah.
Bank, it focuses on 4 different personality types, but it's not based in psychology. It's based in biology, BUY, the science of buying behavior. So you have a blueprint. They're inside the box. They need structure, stability, systems, planning, processes. They hate risk. They hate change. They are skeptical of everything. And they will show up 20 to 30 minutes early for our meeting. On Zoom, 5 to 10. Action blew up the box, right? They're the little firecrackers in your hands. They're the movers, the shakers, the millionaire makers. They want fun and freedom and flexibility, opportunities, excitement.
Wonder who that is.
Right? They will change their mind on a dime, and they're your first to buy. They'll buy fast. Then you have your nurturing.
They're all about so action. Like you just pegged me right there. I'm like, right? Could I be more action with like capitals and exclamation points? Okay.
I know. Anyway. I had someone tell me the other day, you use a lot of exclamation points. I'm like, I know. I do. It's part of my action self. I can't help it.
What's wrong with them? We got to be excited about life. We're above ground, for God's sake.
Exactly. So actions are the first to buy, right? We're excited.
Yeah.
But if somebody,
we're just like, we make gut decisions, right? We're like, yeah, I want that.
Right. Okay. So, and you even said something when I talked to you last night, right? We need to feel that excitement. You could sit here and use all the action terms you want. You could be like, I have an opportunity of a lifetime. Oh, great. I'm so excited. Wait, if you're not excited.
While I go change the litter in my cat box, I'll be back.
If you're not excited about what you have, why should we be? Right. So we're the easiest to close if you're in action.
Yeah, but we know, I mean, we're real clear. We wouldn't even talk to you unless we were interested, right, Michelle? I don't talk
Exactly.
to people unless I already have an interest. Like I'm gonna just say no upfront, right? But if they get me in a meeting, there's a high chance that they're gonna be able to get money out of me and I'm gonna enroll. I mean, that's just how it is.
Absolutely, right? So I literally reached out. I said, I want your stuff. Like, I want your stuff. And I said, give me a link and how to pay you. I just wanted it to make me look pretty, right? And she goes and gives me all the science and data and where it was grown and how it was made and all the things for 20 minutes. Dissertation. I was like this. So knowing what I know, I said, okay, great. Can you still just send me a link and how to pay you? And then I got the email. Oh, for the
Oh
love.
no. And the email was how long?
Was so long. And I scrolled to the bottom to look for the freaking link. There wasn't a link. There wasn't a
Are you
link.
kidding me? So you had to ask her again?
It took me to a website and I had to literally search for whatever it is I was looking for. All the links went to scientific research.
Okay, I'm going to stop you for a second because here's a point, you all. This is a gem. This is an extra for you. Be freaking easy to work with. If somebody asks you for the link, give them the link. You don't need to give them anything else. Give them what they want. Give them the link. Let them sign up.
So here's the problem. People show up like themselves and assume everybody else is like them. So they're like, oh, she doesn't really want the link and how to pay me because she's going to need more information. There's no one out there that would just say, give me a link and pay me.
They've got to analyze it.
So that's what happens. And that's where that breakdown happens. So,
okay, so let me understand the B people. What are they again? Biology? Biology?
So the B is for blueprint.
Blueprint.
Think of
okay. So
holder
analyticals.
So they're more inside the box. They're more, they do everything to avoid risk. Think of your accountants. They're very organized, numbers, details.
Process.
Yes.
So they're what I would think of as like analyticals. They want to understand the process. They want to research. They want to get the A, B, C, D, and then this. They want to know. It's very logical, right?
They need to have the steps. First,
Gotcha.
we do this. Next, we do this.
Gotcha.
A lot of people forget the steps and they can't connect the dots and they don't know what's next. So they lose them.
Love it. So they are really, if we were going to look at Aristotle, let's talk about Aristotle. Do you remember Aristotle from college? Aristotle talked about persuasive rhetoric, and we can appeal through logos, pathos, and ethos, right?
I'm so glad you said that.
So they're the logos people, right? They're the ones who want to have the logic. This leads to this. This leads to, no?
Yeah? No. The knowledge are the logos.
Oh my God. So those are the K people. All right. Before we go to the knowledge people, who are the N people?
The N are the nurturing. Think of heart of gold. They're the huggers. They want teamwork, authenticity, personal growth.
Me.
They really. So keep in mind, everybody's all four. It just depends on the order that they're in that makes them the unique person they are.
Oh, I love that. So the first one, like when you understand your bank code, and by the way, y'all, let me just tell you, she's going to give you a way to check your bank code free, but you got to hang in here till the end of the interview to find that out. So when you understand your profile, the first letter will be your dominant. Is that right? And
Correct.
Then next is your second, third, fourth. All right. Gotcha.
The second plays a huge role of who you are or who you aspire to be. The third typically represents someone under stress. And the fourth is what they stay away from, typically.
Say that again. That is cool.
First is the dominant position. The second plays a huge role of who you are, who you aspire to be. Third one typically represents that person under stress. And the fourth one is typically what they stay away from.
Wow. And that's so fascinating because what I've learned is that usually when I have a strong reaction to someone, you know what I mean, Michelle? Like a strong reaction, it's because there are parts of me that I see in there that I'm not quite able to own.
Yes.
Mm,
So typically when you have that conflict
yeah.
coming from the opposite end. So it's the
And
opposite end of your bank code.
because we're trying to stay away, we're trying to avoid it, but it's in us.
Right. And so that last piece is typically what people avoid that is holding them back in their life or their business.
Whoa. All right, you all. Did y'all hear what she's laying down? That last one. Okay, so you may think the first one is the most important. Like I may be, yeah, my B, my blueprint. Oh no, that's not me. Sorry, A. Action. I'm guessing that I'm A N B. No, A N K B. I'm not sure. A N B K. But it's important. We think the dominant one is really dominant, but think about it this way. It's that other one, the last one, that's your Achilles heel.
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's why when I tell people when they first learn bank, focus on the first and stay away from the last. Right? And then you start to dance, you learn how to shift and flow inside those different languages and different codes so that you can meet people where they are 100% of the time.
Wow. Now, you all, okay. I hope y'all are getting, everybody listening, I hope you're getting this because we like to be with people we're comfortable with who are like us, right? And what you're laying down, Michelle, is that this is in all of us, but we've got to learn to see and understand those other three parts that are not quite as dominant so that we can be the most effective in our businesses and in our customer service and in our sales conversations.
It's in everything.
Yeah.
So once you understand it's not personal, it's personality, it's their wiring
Mm,
system. If you were to cut them open like a computer, right, and open them up, and all of a
mhm,
sudden you understood what everybody's operating system was, what their core values were, all of a sudden you're able to look at it from a different perspective, right? So when we look at the box analogy, where we have the blueprint inside the box, the action
mhm,
blew up the box, the nurturing recycled the box, baked a
mm,
pie, put it inside, wrapped it up, put a bow on top, gave it away.
mhm.
And then the knowledge is like, listen, without me, you wouldn't even have a damn box. I engineered the box. Data, science, research, logic, it has to make sense. But when you look at every single human being, all four, some are more optimized than others, so they can shift and flow and adjust in different ways, right?
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden you've unlocked the secret to humans.
Mm,
So it's not just the sales process. So I blew a sale for $180,000 in a matter of minutes
mm. Yeah.
because I came at her emotional. And we talked about the logos, right? Ethos, it's the two emotional codes, action and nurturing. That's why people
Mm.
always say make the emotional connection with your audience because you're hitting 50% of them. But some of them, logos, is the knowledge. And then we have the blueprint.
Mm.
And so it's actually in our artificial intelligence. We show that picture so that people can see how it affects all of those three areas. And it's fascinating to see how bank is intertwined with everything.
Okay, so I am really, my mind is blown right now because as you said, most people, all right, logos is the emotional and the action, right?
Pathos is the emotional connection. It's the action and the nurturing.
Action and nurturing. Okay, and that's why people say make that emotional connection because you're hitting about 50%. But
Correct.
you're eliminating the B's and the K's, the
Correct.
blueprints and the knowledge. So you're losing out on half your freaking sales, folks.
Exactly. And if you look at the way someone's wired, right? If you want to make a bigger impact, you got to speak all 4 languages. Your actions by first, your nurturing by second, your blueprint by third, and your knowledge is last. But there's a way that you can reach all of them in an opening statement, in every presentation you make. If you don't know your audience, you've hit all 4. You've covered the basis. So whether actions first or last, you're going to get them to take action.
Wow. Okay. Now, I see you holding up some cards, and I know those aren't tarot cards. So some night we'll have to read tarot, because I do actually.
That would be cool.
I know, it's really fun. I just did a reading for a friend of mine who's in London, who is Kay Souther, who does Make Your Mark podcast agency, and we had a lot of fun last night. So these cards, how do people get their hands on, say, the cards, and how do you use the cards?
So they can actually buy these cards, and they can buy them from me, but they're $25 a piece for a set. But I take these cards everywhere with me. Networking groups, people will literally swarm. And you know how many cards I've lost at networking events? And I'm going to give you a little nugget, right? So remember how I said talking all 4 codes?
Yeah.
Okay, so we actually do that when we hand out the cards. So when I hand somebody the cards, I say, do me a favor. Look at the information on the cards. That's your knowledge, right? They're looking for the information. Sort them in order from most like you to least like you is your blueprint. They need a system and a process. This will help me get to know you better. You're nurturing and save us both a lot of time. And that's your action.
All right, I'm buying a set of cards. I'm damn buying myself a set of cards. That's my Thanksgiving Christmas holiday present to myself, is a set of cards. Because here's the other thing. I mean, like, I could see how you could also, while you're, having people arrange that, or even when you're having one-on-one conversations, enrollment conversations, you could have people do that ahead of time, in addition to whatever prep form you have. Like, I have an application form for my Get Results Now session, so you can know more about them. But I could also see how you could sit with these cards and you could be like, what am I neglecting in my business? Like, what part of me am I neglecting? Am I sort of discarding that's really important that I need to bring in? Like, do I need the blueprint who's going to set up systems? Or am I the person who's always nurturing everyone, but I don't take action? Do I need the A? Like, you could use these as a diagnostic for yourself and your business, couldn't you?
Absolutely. And for online, we have a link where people can actually crack their code. They get a report on the back end. Yeah, on the back end, you get a sales report and a profile report. When I'm on calls with people, I will sort the cards. So before they meet me, they crack their code. If for some reason I meet them and they haven't, I will sort the cards. So as they're talking, I'll place them in the order of how they're showing up. I use these cards to PowerScript to write the emails and respond to people in their code. And the AI we use to crack it and make sure that it's spot on. But these cards, like I said, they not only gave me the ability to close that $180,000 deal, which I left, let me tell you, before bank, angry at this woman. And I was like, she's an asshole. I don't need her. Meanwhile, I couldn't.
Not about me. It's about her.
She was so mean. She didn't want my donuts or my cupcakes. She didn't want any of my chit chat. Yeah. And I went back and I ended up landing the deal, which ended up being over $250,000. Right. But
okay, wait. I got to stop you. You went back. Okay. Did everybody hear that? All right. So often in business, we'll get a no and we'll be like, damn, how could I mean, and we'll, self-flagellate. Why did I do that? We'll beat ourselves up. But you went back to her. Now, how did you open that door back up? Because maybe that door was kind of slammed shut a little bit
So
from, yeah.
yeah, so it was because the woman hated me. Like literally, we didn't like each other at all. And
Gotcha.
what happened was after I went and blew that deal, it's shortly after that where I started the coaching program. And the first day I said, "Oh shit, it wasn't her. I blew it." And I knew exactly what happened. It was me. Like I was
Yeah.
speaking German and she was speaking French. And every time I was talking louder and slower. And she was like, "Rrr." And I was like, oh my God, this is the worst
Yeah.
day ever. So when I went back, that's when I spoke to her. She was in her head. So she was blueprint knowledge,
Knowledge. Yeah.
blueprint knowledge, and nurturing and action was last.
And
So
you
I
were
went
coming from cupcakes and nurturing.
right. I was coming from action. Like I was like, right. Blueprint, very business, very right to the point, cold.
Yeah.
Like they don't. And so she wanted to stick to the agenda, follow the schedule.
Yep.
She asked me questions, she only wanted me to answer with the facts and no other chit chat.
No chit chat.
No chit
Don't tell me
chat.
about your dog. I don't want to see your dog.
And what happened was she actually pushed me into stress. Yes, yeah, I did try to show her pictures of my dog. She didn't want to see that
She's like, I don't
either.
want to see that. I hate
But
dogs.
and yeah, exactly. And so she pushed me into stress. So now it became a
Mm.
battle of the codes, right? Where I was like, I'm right, you're wrong. Heh,
Oh my
take that.
God. And then we get into judgment. And the worst thing we can do, oh my God, like the killer for sales conversations. And y'all, I'm speaking from experience because, Dr. Bonsley, I'm pretty clear about what I like and I don't. I'm very upfront. Okay. And, when we get in that battle, like I know I can help someone, but they're off in like analytical la la land. Let me think about it. I'm sitting back thinking, you don't need to research. That's your whole problem. That's why you haven't gotten the 6-figure and more business because all you do is freaking research. And that's why you need me, Miss Action, and I will nurture your ass to help you. But when we get into that judgment, right? Yeah,
Well,
it doesn't work.
exactly.
So you
Exactly.
went back to her and what did you say? How did you open it
So
back up?
I went back to her and I said, I'd like to see if you would come back in for another conversation.
Nice.
And the way I laid it out is I actually ran it through the AI, right? I wrote it in her blueprint knowledge code. Like, could you look on your schedule and see if you have the time to come back in? I have
At
all of the information.
3:41 and 77 seconds.
Right? I have all of the information that you requested.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yes, yes.
And I have the
So
articles, the documentation articles and yeah, evidence.
yes. And so she actually came back in. We
Wow.
closed the deal. And it, like I said, it ended up being at the time I sold the company, it was over $250,000.
I love that, Michelle. All right. So you all is not lost when we fuck up.
Some codes are
Seriously.
more, yeah, some codes are more forgiving than others, but there is a way to go back and try to close that deal.
I love that. Okay, so which I have to ask you this. Which codes are most forgiving? I'm guessing the nurturers.
Yes, nurturing actions, they'll be forgiving, but keep in mind, they want bottom line. Like, get to the bottom line. What is this going to do for me?
Trust me.
Come on, I don't got time to waste. Like,
Mhm.
if you send them a video and you're like, hey, watch this, they're going to be like, screw you. As soon as I get a video, I look at how long is it?
Yep.
And then
Yep. Yeah.
and then I'm like, I don't know if I can invest that much time, right?
I love that. And so the least forgiving, who are the least forgiving? Let's have
The
some fun.
least forgiving are your blueprint and your
Mm,
knowledge, right?
mm,
Your 2 head codes. And it depends. You're nurturing, it depends on what you did. Every code has a dark side. So keep that in mind.
mhm.
There is a dark side to every code.
I bet. Now, okay, I got to pause for a second because I'm thinking, okay, why are blueprint and knowledge least forgiving? And here's what I'm getting. Because they think those of us who are action, that we're full of hot air. That we're not careful enough. We don't think through all the steps, which is really true, actually, in many cases. And the nurturing people, they're like, oh, they're patsies. They're just people pleasers. You know? Am I right? Is that sort of what it's
So,
about?
right. So your blueprint is, and your knowledge, they're skeptical. Your blueprint is very skeptical. And you're absolutely right. Like, they're loose cannon. They're not stable. This is too risky. Remember, they avoid risk. So like
Yes.
actions are complete risk to them. They don't know what to expect. The knowledge, actions talk way too fast.
Oh, yeah. Like they are just all about themselves.
Right. Yeah. And when you're talking to a knowledge, they need to process what you're saying. So my son, blueprint, knowledge, nurturing, action last, right? So I literally stressed him out for 18 years of his life because I ran him over.
Ooh.
He needed step by step. He needed stability. He needed to know what was coming. He needed to have a schedule. And then second was knowledge. So it had to make sense. He had to have time to process it and think about it. And he needed the facts and he needed to research it. And I was
And he
like,
needed a sequence, right?
right. And I was like, like blowing up his world every single day.
All right. So I'm realizing right now, and I might have said this to you in another conversation, like my daughter is such a nurturer, right? She is just, oh my God, she's a nurturer. And I do have that in my profile. I mean, that's a big part of me after A. But you know, I realized that I'm like, well, why don't you just do something? Just go out there and just go to the teen club on the cruise. Just go do that. It's like, Mom, it's too much for her, right? So a better question could be, well, how can I support you in making some friends who are
So
teenagers?
ask her to crack her code. So I'm going to send you a set of cards as a gift for having me on the show.
Are you serious? Oh, I'm
gonna,
gonna cry. Oh my God.
I'm gonna send you the cards and I'm gonna send you the book. So
Yay.
yeah, so just send me your address and I will get those out to you.
Absolutely. Oh my God. You all cannot miss out on the cracking the code. Now, I know I did it, Michelle. I heard about banks some years ago before I ever met you, and the person was not that dynamic, by the way, FYI, just saying. I can't even remember their name. It wasn't Sherry. It wasn't the creator. But do our codes change?
So that is a fantastic question. And yes, they can change. So when my life was going literally spinning out of control,
Yeah.
I lived in the end of my code. So I was living in blueprint knowledge, nurturing action.
Yeah.
Action nurturing. Yeah. But either way, I was living in a way that people were coming to me. All my friends were like, you're not the same person. What's wrong with you?
What's happened to you?
And I was like, my life is literally spiraling out of control. And I was trying to grab on to anything I could to bring it to a place where I could go back to being my happy action nurturing self. Right. But I was doing what I had to survive. So that's why that whole code matters. Everybody's all for. So even when you crack your daughter's code, line up the 4 codes. Because just because dominant is nurturing, the other's going to play a huge role in who she shows up as. Nurturing blueprint is going to show up way different than nurturing knowledge or nurturing action.
She's definitely not nurturing blueprint or knowledge. Like, yeah, she's like all relational, but then action, I would say. It'll be interesting. I want to see what her code is. Now, as you're talking about this, I'm thinking, and I know, you know, on Bold Badass Business, we get a little out there. Like, you know, we just do. Because we want to make this interesting for everybody. And the fact of the matter is, we're not just human beings or business owners. You know, we're all of that together. And we're imperfect, gloriously imperfect. I love to share my fuck ups on the show. You know, I love that you shared, you know, that relationship with your son and how, you know, you realized after you did bank that, oh my God, I was rolling over him, like steamrolling him for years. Which, by the way, those of us who are action, we do it. We do it. We do steamroll sometimes. We do. We love y'all. We just want you to move forward. We do steamroll though. And I get it.
Well,
I've done it.
and even the fun things, like I was showing up as the fun mom, like,
Yeah.
hey, let's go away, pack your bags, right? And he'd completely melt down.
Yeah. Let's go on a cruise.
Right. Like he's like, when? Now, let's go. Right. We go into the toy store and I'd literally break every core value he had before we even made it to like aisle 4. Right. I'm riding around on the bike, shooting hoops, pushing the buttons. And he's
Oh my
like,
God.
and
Mom's
I'm like,
crazy.
right. And I'm like, what's wrong with you? Like, what, you're hungry, you're tired. We're never coming to the toy store again, because I would shift from that fun action
You
nurturing
become
place,
like kick-ass mom. Like,
right, to a drill sergeant. Like
oh
all of a
Lord.
sudden, right? And so all of a sudden, like everything starts to make sense. And you're like, damn, what was I thinking?
Okay, Michelle, I have to tell you, I am hearing a parenting book with bank coming out of you. And the other thing is, you know, I've just written my first children's book. We need to talk about that offline about that, because I think you can write a children's book, i.e. teen book, etc., using bank,
That'd be
right?
amazing.
Because to have this awareness of yourself, I mean, I didn't get an awareness. All right. So I use a leadership quadrant, right? That was taught to me in transformational leadership. And it's analytical. Wait, sorry, let me get it right. Controller, then promoter, then analytical and nurturer, right? And I'm so clearly a promoter, right? And the diagonal is analytical, and the diagonal is where there's the most tension. And if we were to put this in bank terms, like promoter would be action,
Right.
analytical would be, I'm guessing, knowledge or blueprint. I'm not sure if it'd be knowledge or blueprint. I'm not sure, but for sure, the nurturing would be the same. And then the diagonal to nurturing would be controller. And the controller it's like this way. I'm guessing maybe that's the blueprint people.
So it depends. So that's what this kind of bridges the gap between the other assessments, where you can have the controlling piece. Okay, but what are they controlling? A blueprint action is going to control different than a blueprint nurturing or a blueprint knowledge. So it takes it to that next level where you're actually bridging that gap and you're like, oh, wait, now I get it. So people can have a disc profile and have a completely different bank profile. One of my clients said, oh my God, me and my husband have the same disc profile. I thought we were the same this whole time. And come to find out, completely different.
Wow. Man, this could just impact your personal and your professional relationships. What I was going to say to you was about sharing about your relationship with a narcissist, right?
Ooh, yes.
Where did narcissists show up here? I mean, is there a type of is one of them more prone to narcissism?
Yes. Yes.
Ooh,
so,
which one?
So I actually, well, it depends on where their emotional intelligence is. So let me say that first, right? So my dad is a narcissist. My first husband was a narcissist. My second husband was a narcissist. So I had a cycle that I had to eventually break. And once I was able to understand how to stand in my power and have a voice, bank was part of that. So with my dad, now I have that power to be able to deal with whatever he throws at me. It doesn't matter.
So what is his profile? Or like, what is the most prone to narcissism out of the
So and I'm going to skip over that because again, it depends. It depends on where their emotional intelligence lies.
Gotcha.
So yes. So I don't want to say it's this bank code and then, because I don't want to label people out, but there is a pattern. Yes.
Tell us about that. Tell us more. This is super intriguing to me because definitely I think a lot of us, especially women who become entrepreneurs, let me know if you think this is true, but I think a lot of us have dealt with people who were narcissistic. Either they were narcissist or they had narcissistic tendencies. And it's why we become, I know for myself, I became doggedly determined to own my voice and say what the F I want to say.
Yes, absolutely. And we are put into a world where, at least I was, right? Where I
Yeah.
didn't have a voice. When I did try to speak my truth, I was always cut down. And so it was just time after being cut down that you either curl up into a ball and you're like, yeah, screw it, I'm done, right? Or you get back up and you just keep fighting.
Mm.
And that's where I always get back up. I'm like, I'm not going to quit, right? Why
It makes you more determined, right?
Exactly. It puts that fire in your belly. We're like,
Yeah.
yep, you know what? Screw you. We're going to make this fun. You underestimate me? Yeah, that'll be fun.
You'll eat your words.
Exactly. Exactly.
And your little dog too.
Well, yes, damn it. But that's where you actually, when you start to understand bank and you understand how you can learn the art and science of influence, learn the art and science of people and how you can stand in your power and empower others as well, right? It's not a manipulation tool. It's a tool to use for good. And that's where it's the game changer for giving people that ability to understand not only who they are, but who's around them.
Wow. You know what? Okay. So here I'm thinking, all right, you got to give your website. All right. So they can go get cards. I'm so excited about my card deck. Let me tell you, I have this group. I call it the Wild Woman Group. Imagine that.
I love it. I love it.
I wish you were here in North Carolina so you could come. We go out, we have hilarious conversations, and we have margaritas, and we just crack ourselves up for hours sharing what's going on in our lives and our businesses. But I have these card decks I love to take. And they ask these questions like, what's your most embarrassing moment? Or blah, 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 you know? And we just have so much fun. Once in a while, we'll take out these card decks and we'll start answering the questions. But I totally could see how you could do something like that, where this becomes a game, right? For friends, for families, for community groups, church groups, clubs, whatever, to really understand who the leaders are around us, right?
Yeah.
Because when we come from a place of strengths-based leadership, like, oh, nurturer, so and so's a nurturer, let's put her greeting everybody at the door when they come in for the event. And oh, so and so's blueprint, so let's put them in charge of the PowerPoint slides. When we understand who somebody is, where they naturally excel, we can make all our communities, all our groups better. You know?
Absolutely. And it works like a well-oiled machine. So now all of a sudden you understand, like, whether it's in leadership, in business, in your own relationships, how to work together as a team.
Mm.
So even with relationships, like me and my husband are complete opposite codes. Most
wow.
are opposites attract and then they attack. So
Interesting. Oh, wait.
yeah.
What do you mean? Opposites attract and then they attack. Tell us about that. That's kind of fun.
Well, okay. So in the beginning, right, when you first meet somebody who's not like you, typically it's action and blueprint, right? So the action is
Yeah.
like, oh my
Okay.
God, he's so responsible. He pays his bills. Like he's got a plan for everything, plans for the future. And the blueprint is like, oh my God, you're so spontaneous. You have so much fun. Like you're so exciting, right? And then after a while, just like with me and John, like I would go out and just spontaneously buy a new Jeep and send him pictures in New York. Hey, honey, look at my new car, right? Send him a garage for his birthday on a flatbed to New York, surprise. And then they're like, blueprints are looking at the action. Like, you spend money like a sieve. You never have a plan. You never
You're
know what to
irresponsible.
expect. You're irresponsible. You're looking at the next best opportunity, like bleh. And the action's like, you're so boring. You do the same thing over and over again. You're a creature of
Right.
habit.
You're too
Like, you
predictable.
have a budget. If I have to hear about your budget one more time, I'm going to poke my eyes out. Like,
You lack
it
spontaneity.
right. Okay. So
Yeah.
same thing with nurturing and knowledge. They typically
Yeah.
attract. And then you have somebody who's nurturing, who's like, at first, oh, you're so smart. You take care of everything. And the knowledge is like, you care so much. You have so many friends. After a while, it's like a battle of the codes, right? Your nurturing is like, you never tell me you love me. You never hold
Mm.
my hand. You never show me any emotion. The knowledge doesn't like emotion. It clouds logic. So
Mm.
the knowledge is like, you're so needy, you talk too much. Like, all of those things that used to be exciting are now annoying. Like, there's a right way to load a dishwasher. Who knew? I mean, honestly.
So you'll laugh. Okay, so I'm so action, but I totally have systems about everything, like the way to load the dishwasher, everything. I have systems because that's how I get shit done. And I'm very productive and efficient. But you know what you're making me think about? You know those wonderful books about the codes of love,
Yeah.
right? The love codes. Man, this is combined with that. How interesting, right?
Yeah.
The codes of love, like we have gift giving, we have verbal, what is it? Verbal support, like verbal affirmation. We have acts of service,
Right.
and then we have physical touch. These are the 4 language loves that they talk about in those books. And it makes me think, is there a correlation that you see between those 4 and bank? Because how cool is that? Like, again, everybody, if you haven't read those, codes of, what are they called? The languages of love, I think.
Love languages.
Love languages, thank you. You've got acts of service, you've got touch, like physical touch, you've got verbal affirmation, and you've got, what was the last one? I said it before.
Gifts,
I got it.
acts of service.
Gifts. Oh, and that's so funny. I used to be so gift oriented. Like, I love a gift. The gift it could be like a handwritten poem. I mean, it doesn't have to cost money. I still love gifts.
Well, and each code, when you break that down, need different types of love. So when you look, yes. So like, okay, I told you, I sent my boyfriend at the time when we first started dating a physical garage to New York from Pennsylvania on a flatbed. And I called him and I was like, hey, honey, could you be home tomorrow to get your gift? And he was like,
he thought you were sending him some like,
What?
bottle of cologne or something.
What? And he's like, I'm working. He's a high blueprint, right? I'm working.
Well,
He
get
had
your
a
ass
schedule.
home.
And I was like, well, they kind of need you to be there. And he's like, well, what is it? And I said, it's a garage. It's a freaking garage. Like, I'm so excited. And he goes, how much did it cost? And I was like, it didn't cost you anything. It's a gift. Like, that's the greatest part about it, right?
They can be happy, damn it.
And he was like, what if I need a permit?
Oh, God.
I was like, I mean, it's possible,
hilarious.
right? He goes, I need to build a platform. There needs to be gravel. It needs to have drainage. Like, there's things I need to do. And I was like, this started out really fun. Like,
and now it ain't.
Right? So
just burn the damn thing and pay me back.
Okay, so literally I could have saved tens of thousands of dollars in the gifts that I've given to him that he didn't want. Like, now he loves the garage, but it took a really long time. And same with my son. So my oldest son, I would buy him like name brands and top things, and I would spend a fortune, right? And he would go to the thrift store. Not that there's anything wrong with the thrift store, right? Not where I would choose to shop. So every piece of that, even physical touch, So remember, head codes, they don't like that physical touch.
Mm-mm.
So when me and my son, when I would try to give him a hug, he would freak out.
Mm.
And I would be like, why don't you love me? What did I do wrong? Why am I such a horrible
Mm.
parent? When the fact of the matter was, he just didn't like to be
It just
touched.
wasn't his language.
Right.
Mm. Wow. Now, there's another book right there. The love languages and bank. Yeah. So everybody, I hope as you listen to this, I hope you're thinking about, what is my dominant? What is my least dominant? Because, well, guess what? That's your Achilles heel. And I hope you're thinking about how could I crack my code? How could I go take some of Michelle's trainings? How could I learn so that I don't turn away 3/4 of my prospects? So that being said, Michelle, you and I could talk forever. I know we could. I mean, we have on the phone, but before. But let me ask you, I know you're going to give them a code or the opportunity to crack their code for free. Where is that? Can you give us the website where they can find that?
Yes. So it will be actually just crack my code.
Mm-hmm.
And then it is my first name and then my last name. So Michelle.Myrter.
Mm-hmm.
So crack my code.
Mm-hmm. Michelle
Michelle.
with 2 L's .Myrter. And by the way, you all, murder is spelled not murder like murder she wrote, but it's Myrter, right?
Yes, exactly.
So crackmycode.Michelle with 2 L's .Myrter. And you can go crack your code. You could have your teenagers do it. I'm going to let my daughter do it. You could have your friends do it. How fun is that? Y'all could have a little party and try to guess each other's codes. It's kind of like the Enneagram. I love the Enneagram, right? And you can find out this is sort of those personality tests you loved when you were younger, everybody, or those tests that you love to do where you're like, oh my God, that tells me so much about myself. This will tell you about yourself. But the best thing is it's going to tell you where you get to develop parts of yourself so that you can really appeal to others. I have to tell you something funny, Michelle. Is that all right?
Yes, absolutely.
Is that all right? I mean, funny in like a weird way, not funny like ha ha ha. But when I was doing transformational leadership, you will love this. Guess what I created? Guess what I sourced? I created a team where I was the only promoter.
Of course.
I was the only promoter, i.e., like a action. And of course I did, because I needed to learn how to access parts of myself that I wasn't accessing. And you'll laugh, when we were doing these like $30,000 projects for volunteer organizations that we had to create in like a weekend, guess who they sent out to get all these donations everywhere? Guess who?
Of course you.
Me, because I would just go in, and even the people who said no, by the time I finished talking with them, they were giving us paint, they were giving us stuff, and you know, but it helped me. That experience was very valuable to me because it helped me realize, oh, you know, my way of doing things is kind of not rare, but I think there are less promoters in the world than there are, say, analyticals and nurturers. Controllers, they're less controllers. Those are kind of the people who are like my way or the highway. But there were less promoters in the world. The percentage is smaller. And so it was helpful to me to see, oh, when I'm speaking to somebody who's analytical, I need to explain my process. I need to explain why. I need to explain and give them the results I've had. I can't just be, let's go get this now. Because they're going to be like, what's wrong with you, woman? You're crazy. You're too much. And if I'm talking to the nurturers, I need to make sure that I enroll them and use their strengths and get them involved. And it's not just like me leading, it's everyone being a leader. Yeah.
Yeah. And they love community. They love helping.
Yes. And I have a part of that, as you do too. So, Michelle, I have to ask you, what is your profile, your bank profile, at least right now?
It is ANKB.
See, I think you and I are the same, right?
Yep.
I think we're the same. Yeah. Or I'm ANK. I'm ANBK maybe, but I think I'm ANKB. We'll find out because I'm going to do that. I'm going to go to your website. Give them the website again, Michelle, so they can get their code. Oh my God, how fun is this?
So it is crackmycode.com/Michelle.Myrter.
All right,
MYRTER.
mycode.com/Michelle.Myrter. Well,
Correct.
Michelle, you have given us so much to think about. I love this because so often, we will dismiss someone because they're different from us. Like, I mean, in general, in life, like, oh my God, I'm a white cracker. They're a yellow cracker. Whatever. Like we'll dismiss somebody. I guess you're not, whatever. We use all these horrible words like honky, white cracker, spick, whatever. We'll dismiss someone. And the truth of the matter is that when we start looking at our lives and our businesses in terms of bank, we realize that we all have all aspects of these. And so it really is our responsibility as global citizens and business owners to develop the parts of ourselves that we haven't, and to embrace them, to embrace them instead of saying, oh my God, I hate those people who need to analyze everything,
Well, absolutely. And just think of what the world would look like if we could just make people matter. If
Oh,
we could stop judging so much and start loving on people and saying, you know what, it's not the way I think, but I want to know what your perspective is, because we can learn from everyone we meet. And if we could all just come together and be able to find a common ground where we're speaking one world, one language, right?
oh my
That's
gosh. Yeah.
bank. That's bank. It gives us the ability to connect with everyone in front of us. Everybody's seen, heard, and understood. And now we all have a voice.
That's beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. And not only do we all have a voice, but we can understand that when we're playing to everybody's strengths, we're all emboldened, we're all strengthened. Like my VA is definitely knowledge or blueprint, maybe blueprint. And that's perfect for me. It's perfect. It helps me so much to stay organized. She creates these spreadsheets and these processes and calendars, and I need that because
Yeah.
truthfully, if I were running it, I'd be like, I feel like doing a video now. Let me do it, right? And she keeps that energy, that action energy, grounded in a way that is very, very important. So what we're getting at, everyone, is that whatever your bank profile may be, you matter, and everyone else matters too. And when you understand, when you do the crack the code that Michelle has offered, complimentary for everybody, then guess what? It's going to allow you to infuse your personal relationships and your professional relationships with new life and new understanding. And I believe that creates more abundance and harmony on the planet. What do you think, Michelle?
Absolutely. Agree
For sure.
100%.
Yay! So you all, before I forget, because I do, please go to my YouTube. Just look up Dr. Barnsley Brown and please subscribe. Y'all know I've been building that thing. I'm more on Facebook and LinkedIn, but I'm building that YouTube, and I need you to share it. And also feel free to go to Spirited, TED dash solutions with an S.com. Make sure you put the dash, very important, or you'll get a boring computer company, and avail yourself of how to overcome overwhelm in 7 easy steps. All right. And you all, don't you agree? This was like freaking amazing. Would you please, in the comments, put your takeaway, put what you've learned, what this spurred in you, what this incited in you. And, you know, I give my time, all my guests like Michelle, we give our time. Why? Because we want to see you be in abundance, and we want you to bring your calling to the world. No more ifs, like if I could. No, we're dealing in wins when you start your business, which is freaking now. All right. So, love you all. Thank you for tuning in to Bold Badass Business. We're here every Friday afternoon, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 1:30 p.m. Pacific, etc., whatever time zone you're in. Make sure you comment and share it. And guess what? We love to shout out to the people who comment. So, thank you, Michelle. You are fabulous. You have taught us how to take it to the bank. Stop judging others and instead understand that we have all aspects of these BANKs in ourselves, and we can use that to make the world a better place.
Thank you so much for having me.
Love you lots. All right, y'all, be here next week, 4:30. I'm going to leave a stink bomb on your virtual doorstep.